Whispers in the dark. Imagine for a moment that you hold the key to a parallel universe, a world governed by no laws, watched by no government, a place where the currency is encryption, and your bank account can never be frozen or tracked. You're sitting in your darkened room. No one sees you. No one knows who you are. Every digital footprint is disguised by thousands of layers of encryption. You open your computer and dive into the depths of this hidden internet, the dark web. Or at least, that's what you think. In this realm, which its inhabitants believe is an impenetrable sanctuary, deals are brokered that surpass the trade volume of small nations. Personal data for millions is bought and sold. Massive financial transfers are conducted without any oversight, and secret networks of illicit trade are woven, all convinced they are protected by fortresses of code. But one day, the foundations of this world were shaken by a digital earthquake. It wasn't a raid by the police or security agencies. Instead, it was an astonishing heist, a digital crime that rocked this dark universe, a billion-dollar theft targeting the largest and most heavily fortified platform in the Shadow network. Everyone was stunned by the sheer audacity and technical brilliance behind the operation. The prevailing belief was that the perpetrator had vanished forever, taking the spoils with them. But what was even more shocking was the dramatic ending no one predicted. The story concluded in disaster for the criminal, and the reason wasn't a complex hack or code decryption. It was due to one small mistake, a simple human error. The hacker, in their hubris, forgot that humans are the weakest link in any security system. This single flaw was enough to breach the fortress of anonymity and expose the criminal to the world. This is our story today, the tale of the most expensive digital heist in dark web history, and how a single human mistake brought down an empire of shadows. Chapter 1. The Shadow World, a complex crime scene. Before we dive into the details of the crime, we must first clearly understand where it took place. We need to understand the stage, the dark web. The internet we use daily is merely the surface, known as the surface web, which is what search engines like Google can access. But beneath this surface lies a deep sea called the deep web, which includes private databases, email accounts, and cloud files, data that is unindexed, but not necessarily secret or criminal. The dark web, however, is a specialized layer within the deep web. It's a segment of the internet intentionally encrypted to conceal identity. You can't access it via a regular browser like Chrome or Firefox. You need specialized software, the most famous being the Tor browser. The Onion router refers to the multi-layered encryption system, where your data is bounced through a random chain of servers globally, making source tracing like peeling endless layers of an onion. This camouflage is what makes the dark web a place of duality. It's a sanctuary for political dissidents and journalists escaping oppressive regimes, and simultaneously, it's a fertile ground for digital black markets. The platform in our story wasn't just an ordinary market, it was the Wall Street of the dark. Let's call it Platform X. Platform X was one of the largest digital black exchanges ever, transacting daily volumes estimated in the tens, if not hundreds of millions of cryptocurrencies, especially Bitcoin. Its digital vaults were massive, and its security was formidable. But to a brilliant hacker, this site wasn't just a market, it was the perfect bank, a gigantic safe overflowing with wealth, protected only by walls of code. No concrete walls, no traditional guards, and that bank was about to collapse. Chapter 2. The Hacker. Genius of the shadows and the start of the plan. If the perpetrator behind this operation was a legendary figure, invisible for a long time, let's call him the Shadow. The Shadow wasn't a mere amateur trying a random exploit. He was a true expert in reverse cybersecurity. He lived and breathed in the depths of this dark network, using years of experience to learn every single weakness in the Platform X system. His plan, deceptively simple, was complex in its execution and timing. His goal was to access the platform's cold wallets, the encrypted wallets where the majority of the funds were stored as reserve, away from daily trading. Technical preparation details. Code study. The Shadow spent months monitoring the platform's currency movements. He analyzed the smart contracts governing trades, looking for a logical loophole or a simple programming error, any backdoor, transaction monitoring. He noticed a repetitive pattern in how funds were moved between hot wallets, used for daily trading, and cold wallets, for storage. This temporal gap was the vulnerability he leveraged.
Concealment plan. The Shadow prepared dozens of dummy wallets on various exchange platforms, setting up complex paths for the transfers to pass through tumbling and mixing networks to launder the cryptocurrency, theoretically making tracing impossible. The moment of execution. On a night the platform considered routine, the Shadow executed his major move. He exploited a timing glitch in the synchronization process between the hot and cold wallets, a known type of vulnerability in the DeFi world. Within hours, he performed a silent transfer of billions of dollars in small, successive batches, carefully avoiding triggering the platform's automated alarm systems. Imagine the shock that hit the managers of Platform X the next morning. The dashboard showed the funds, but attempting any withdrawal or transfer caused the system to crash. They discovered the void. Billions had vanished suddenly, leaving no traditional trace of an attack. The dark web was completely rattled. No one imagined this fortress could be breached with such ease and quiet. Chapter 3. Fatal Hubris, the Human Error. In the high-stakes world of hacking and crime, one rule is constant. The bigger and more complex the operation, the more potential human failure points exist. The Shadow was a technical genius, but he was fatally arrogant. The Shadow was overconfident in the layers of anonymity and encryption he had built. He used layered VPN technology and the Tor browser with additional encryption, but he forgot that technology is merely a tool, and the human mind is the source of weakness. Possible human error scenarios. The fleeting IP mistake. In one moment of fatigue or haste, his VPN connection might have dropped for a few seconds. These seconds were enough for his real IP address to be logged, even on a remote server or by his internet service provider, ISP, which tracks all activity. The reused handle. The Shadow might have used a nickname or password pattern that he had previously used on a regular platform, like an old forum or gaming account linked to his real-life personal data years ago. Connecting one point from the bright past to one point in the dark present was enough. The financial transaction. Perhaps he transferred a very small portion of the stolen funds to a wallet he had previously used to buy a video game or pay a subscription bill. Transactions tied to a traditional bank. This small piece was like a thread that pulled out the entire haul. The last moment of relaxation. It's speculated he may have made an error in the timing of one transaction, executing it during a specific sleeping or waking time in his time zone, unlike other hackers globally. This timing became a geographical clue. Chapter 4. A thread from nothing. The crypto forensics. The investigation began in the dark web, which is akin to searching for an unseeable needle in an invisible haystack. Identities were fake and addresses were encrypted, but a team of cybersecurity experts, in cooperation with international law enforcement, proving that government cooperation no longer fears the dark web, started the trace. Their motto, data doesn't lie.
Digital pursuit techniques. Chain analysis. Bitcoin is no longer completely anonymous. Every transaction is recorded on the public ledger, the blockchain. Investigators began using advanced tools like chainalysis to track the movement of the stolen billions. Their goal wasn't to find the Shadow's name, but to find the pattern in his movement. De-anonymization. Despite the Shadow's use of coin mixers or tumbling software,
investigators found that the small payments he made at the start of the operation, before he began the deep anonymization, were enough to link them to the first deposit wallet, connecting the small dots. The human error committed by the shadow served as the anchor. Investigators linked this initial wallet to the fleeting IP address data that appeared for a second, or even to the hacker's writing style in old dark web communications. They then linked all of this to old financial records associated with the reused email handle from his past. The process was like assembling delicate scattered silk threads in a dark room until the complete picture slowly began to emerge. Piece by piece, investigators knew not only where the money went, but who held the final key to those funds. Chapter 5. The Pursuit of Bits and Bytes and the Takedown. This was no traditional movie chase. It was a cold, informational battle. Investigators, sitting in front of their screens, watched the cryptocurrency movements in real time. The money was moving at the speed of light, from one wallet to another, from a Chinese exchange to a European one, in a desperate attempt to launder it. But the shadow was making another mistake: excessive speed. Every transfer or attempt to swap currencies, for example, from Bitcoin to Monero, then to fiat currency, left a precise timestamp, and every timestamp became an additional piece of evidence pointing to one person controlling all these operations. This overconfidence allowed investigators to build a complete psychological profile of the hacker, a solitary person working at specific times with digital habits he couldn't change. The takedown moment. The chase lasted for months. In the end, all the small threads, a fleeting IP address, a financial transfer pattern, an old username, led to a single person in a specific geographical location. His identity was fully established by linking his digital footprint on the dark web to his real-world identity outside of it. The actual takedown was quiet and undramatic, unlike what many might imagine. There were no gunshots or loud police raids, just a server shutdown and the sudden freezing of a large number of cryptocurrency wallets. It was a lamentable end for the shadow. After all the technical brilliance of the hack, he couldn't cover up his simple human mistake. Thus, the biggest heist in dark web history ended with a familiar scene: a criminal exposed to justice, not because of a sophisticated counter-hack, but because of a single, simple human oversight. Conclusion: lessons, insights, and the eternal digital footprint. This story isn't just an incident. It's a deep case study in digital security and the human psyche. Anonymity doesn't mean impunity. No matter the layers of encryption, there is always a genuine point of connection to the real world. The shadow didn't fall because of a Tor bug, but because of a flaw in his memory or habits. Arrogance creates fingerprints. Over 90% of digital criminals fall not because of weak code, but because of overconfidence that leads them to repeat patterns or unintentionally link their secret life to their public one. The digital footprint is eternal. Every click, every second of connection, every financial transaction on the blockchain is saved forever. Security agencies today aren't just looking for the criminal in the present moment. They are building a network of evidence from the digital archive. Global cooperation is the dark web's biggest foe. These cases prove that the dark web is no longer outside the reach of the law as it was thought to be a decade ago. Laws and agencies are evolving faster than hackers can disappear. If you think about it for a moment, you'll realize this story is a reflection of our daily digital lives. We sometimes think what we do online just vanishes into space, but in reality, everything remains. The hack here was massive, but the message is simpler. Humans make mistakes, and technology preserves those mistakes forever. If the king of anonymity in the world of digital crime fell due to a small slip-up, what could our simple, everyday digital traces, the ones we make while browsing, typing, and sharing, reveal about us? This was the story of one of the boldest and most dangerous heists in dark web history, an operation that began with genius and ended with hubris. Don't forget to write in the comments. Do you prefer complex digital crime stories more, or do you favor real-life true crime police stories?
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, drop a comment to share your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our next video. Your support keeps this channel growing, and I really appreciate it.